up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid.
I'm fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener. Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Victory Tuesday, man. I'm still claiming it. I'm still on a high here. Not even some of the topics we're going to discuss in segment 2 can bring me down off of this Detroit Lions high. 26-20 over the Rams, man. It's your boy, Brandon Dan K, Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. That right there is Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad. And this is Wake Up Woodward. Thank you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. Chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of this thing. So go on ahead, smash that like button to support the homies. What up, though, Flannel Sam?
You know, Kool-Aid, unfortunately, you alluded to it. It wasn't a complete victory weekend for us Michigan fans.
Speak for yourself.
Hey, JB.
Fair enough.
No, and that's fine, JB. Go ahead and talk your shit. You guys, that was actually a really nice win at Maryland. I will give you that. I will give you guys that, and that is 100% sincere. But yeah, we're gonna get into Michigan later on. I know a lot of you are dying to hear what me and Broder have to say about it, because we're not ducking the smoke. It was a very big game, and it was a very subpar performance on a national stage. And we're going to talk about it. We promise.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I love Michigan football. I was bullish on them. And it was beyond disappointing to see what happened to them. But you already mentioned them. The man,
Skirt.
the young GOAT, the young legend in this town. That is Matthew Broder, our credentialed Tigers and our Lions reporter and writer for the network. I love the gear today, bro.
Thank you, man.
Straight up.
Thank you. It was an epic weekend. I almost feel like hungover today. From Sunday morning to really last night, Monday Night Football. It's just been a whirlwind, but it was so exciting. We had sports all weekend long. It was weird the Tigers not playing last night, but they picked up a half a game in the wild card race, so it's a good night. It was a good night.
Every time we're ready to put the Tigers down, they just say, nah, not yet.
It's like that meme where the person in the coffin just like pokes his head up, is like, hey, actually, I'm still alive.
The Twins lost at home to the Angels. I was a little worried that the Twins would have a get-right series, but they certainly started out not advantageously for them, but very advantageously for the Tigers.
I picked up Reed Detmers on my fantasy team. Going against the Twins. I'm in a playoff race right now.
Man,
Reed
nice.
Detmers over the Twins, baby.
Hey, that was nice.
Let's go. And Tigers, let's make it interesting.
Yep.
Let's make it interesting. Shout out to KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick. We cannot wait to have you back next week, brother. Enjoy the time, because you already know Lions season is it's a grind. And this is how we do at Woodward Sports. We got intern Chase in the building. That dude, Justin. Silent Mike. What up, though? They say that you are elite at silence. He is in the sound booth, ironically. What up, though?
What's going on?
There we go. And Woodward Sports is MVP, rightfully so, on a Tuesday in the Teddy booth. It is JB-SMOOV.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I definitely feel Broder's pain right now. It's definitely that hangover. Like you're still just trying to recover from Sunday, and then to turn around to Monday Night Football, especially seeing Christian McCaffrey out. Man, it just it sucked. It was a lot of football within the last 3 days.
A lot of football, man. A lot of football. And I'm just happy, though, that the hangover, it's more of a positive one rather than one of those hangovers that just kind of keeps you down. You got to call off work. And since it's one of them hourly jobs, you're actually losing pay too. No. Yeah. This is one of those situations where it's like, hey, boss, I'm off for the day. I got my kid with me, and I'm like at golf. That's the type of hangover that it feels. So you need the recovery. But I'm so happy that it's with a Lions W, man.
Makes everything better. It makes everything, the lack of sleep, it makes it completely worth it. I would take a lack of sleep and a Lions victory any day of the week.
Let's go. Well, hey, Matthew Broder, would you like to tell the people what we are discussing today?
Yes. We got some some topics in this warm-up that we're going to hit just here in a second. We are going to take it. First segment, we're talking Michigan football. We didn't talk about it at all yesterday on this show. Devin the Dog, I see you, man. I love you, man. We got to talk about it. Otherwise, Flannel and I will get ripped on for the rest of the season. We got to wear it. We got to wear it and discuss. And we're getting into Lions football again because there was so much that happened in that game. We got to keep talking about it. More comments coming out of practice, coming out of Dan Campbell, Ali McNeil, coming out of these press conferences that I think are really interesting topics. Flannel Sam and I, we're revealing our Week 1 power rankings because it's Top 10 Tuesday. And why are we doing a Top 10? Because you have to when you're doing power rankings. Suck it, Big D Energy.
Yeah, thank you.
That's just about it. It's a big football day. Tomorrow we're talking Tigers. They play tonight against the Rockies. They got a little 2-game series. 18 games left, 3 games back in the wild card. Rest of the week, we're going to hit them a little bit more. Today's another big football day.
Definitely, and appropriately so. Yesterday was celebration, victory Monday for the Detroit Lions win. Today, get a little bit more technical, especially kind of looking back at the game, being able to see how these different position groups performed as well. But let's get into these layup lines. Let's get warmed up, and I know we got a little bit more of a somber one, especially for a Michigan native in the University of Michigan alone. Rest in peace to James Earl Jones. The news broke yesterday that he passed away at the age of 93. And when you talk about a cultural icon and just one of those people that everyone that knew him, as they talk about him, they say he was just an absolute great person. And just the vibes that we get as people that see him from a distance and some that might have gotten an opportunity to just meet him in passing. He was a great person, great at his craft, and somebody that from this great state of Michigan, I will always cape for our greats here, man.
Absolutely. And there's nothing better on earth, especially if you're a Michigan fan, than those intro hype videos narrated by the great James Earl Jones. It gets the whole crowd fired up. I'm sure the players, while they're waiting in the tunnel, it gives them that extra jolt. It gives me chills every single time. It's honestly, in a lot of ways, one of the highlights of being there. With like the way that he belts out, with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. I just want to jump out of my skin at that point. But it wasn't just that. I'll always remember him too for his role in Field of Dreams. That's personally my favorite James Earl Jones role as the great Terrence Mann. One of my favorite scenes of that entire movie is when John Kinsella, the character played by Kevin Costner, kind of ambushes Terrence Mann at his house, played by James Earl Jones, and at one point is not really giving up, and James Earl Jones is like, "I'm gonna beat you with a crowbar." I always like that. And then, hey, one of the clutchest performances of all time, right as James Earl Jones is about to beat Kevin Costner to a bloody pulp. You're a pacifist. Love that whole scene.
And obviously, I know people know the voice of Mufasa, the voice of Darth Vader. Talk about some legendary voice acting opportunities. But beyond that, I absolutely loved what he brought to the table in Coming to America.
Well, yeah,
absolutely loved it, man. If you haven't gotten an opportunity to watch the movie, go back and watch the movie. James Earl Jones, he had range. He could do anything, man.
Whether he was on screen or a voiceover playing the character, playing Mufasa. It was Mufasa, right? Or Mufasa. Yeah. Playing Darth Vader. My favorite, and it's hard to not pick the Field of Dreams. My favorite was Sandlot. Sandlot. The old man with the dog out in the outfield. That was growing up as a kid. Like, that's what I first thought of James Earl Jones. What a unique actor. You're right, a cultural icon. When I first heard this news, it was like, man, like James Earl Jones, he passed away. This is one of the first times, at least in a long time I can remember, like, man, like, it was a great reminder of how amazing this actor was, how amazing James Earl Jones was, and that this is a time to celebrate and remember him. I feel like we haven't talked about him, other than the occasional news story over the last 5-10 years. This is a moment where we can remember this guy, one of the best actors of our time, one of my favorites.
Well, definitely. And it's been awesome, too, to see just how Michigan doesn't forget their own. I do believe he needs to be more celebrated, but like Flannel said, it was cool to see University of Michigan really take one of his crafts and find the best way to have it be a part of this game day experience. And if it's getting the fans fired up, this legend has to be getting the players fired up. Hopefully it helps them in some way. In some way.
And for everybody in the chat who is going to be joining me at the Big House this Saturday for their big game against Arkansas State, a little tongue-in-cheek, but you understand. That intro is going to hit like a Mack truck, and I want everybody to just give that the biggest cheer that you've ever given it in your life, because, man, it is going to hit. So, hey, in a game against Arkansas State, that might actually be the highlight of the day.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
Yeah.
Keep enjoying it.
Yeah, well, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. Do you guys happen to watch Monday Night Football last night? Because it was a great matchup. It looked like another Week 1 game, some sloppiness. Although without Christian McCaffrey, 49ers came out and dominated the Jets, where maybe we had questions about the Jets offense. The 49ers, they ran all over that Jets defense that I thought was going to be like a number 1, 2, maybe top 3 defense in the NFL. They won 32-19, 49ers over the Jets. What'd you think, Sam?
I mean, the 49ers, they've got something to prove. They want to, I would say, reclaim their spot as, wait a minute, I know the Lions, I know we're obviously Lions fans, we know the Eagles, but the 49ers, we are still the big dogs of the NFC, and they're another team that really needs to cash in a Super Bowl. And I was just, like you said, Broder, I was impressed with the way that without Christian McCaffrey, with Trent Williams being held out till damn near the last practice, with all that happened with Brandon Ayuk, with just how smooth and effortless their offense looked. They ran the ball up and down, right down a Quinnen Williams-led defense all night without Christian McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy looked as efficient as ever. 49ers, you still, in order to be the man, you got to beat the man, and the Lions should still be looking at the Niners as the gauge, as the team that you're going to have to go through if you want to make the Super Bowl.
Definitely, and that, honestly, the entire time kind of watching that game and enjoying seeing Aaron Rodgers lose, that was what was on my mind. Everything this year that I'm looking at, especially with teams on our schedule, teams that we know we're going to compete with for a Super Bowl opportunity, man, I'm taking keen interest in. And when you look at the 49ers, they look like a team that's tired of getting close but no cigar. And to me, that's why I'm grateful for the identity that Dan Campbell has brought to this Detroit Lions team, because in the past, that might be enough. That might be enough for the 49ers to have the edge over the Lions in a season like this. Because I can't lie, they looked good defensively. Yeah. Stopping the run especially. They looked good offensively. Running the ball down the Jets' throat, man. It was, and it's not something that makes me scared, especially after this first game. It's something that makes me so fired up and stoked, because I do believe the Lions are big dogs. The Lions are big dogs, man. But that game last night, it was just my biggest takeaway. It was awesome to see Aaron Rodgers lose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's always great to see Aaron Rodgers lose. It's slightly great to see him actually play a full game and be healthy. Like, I would rather see him lose than see him hurt and just standing there. But winners on the game, Flannel, Brock Purdy, Jordan Mason, or Hassan Reddick.
I mean,
Hassan Reddick might have earned himself some money not playing that game like Chris Jones last year.
That's a great point. And I'm not saying that was the only reason why the Jets defense looked so pedestrian, but Brock Purdy had all day to throw, and Hassan Reddick, it would have been nice for the Jets to have him in there. I will just say that. Maybe it would have looked a little bit differently, but yeah, I honestly think one of the big winners from that game is Kyle Shanahan just continuing to prove that if you're missing a weapon, Christian McCaffrey is arguably the best offensive player in the National Football League. He was gone. It didn't mean anything because their offense just flows so smooth, damn near no matter what. I mean, you've seen it in the past. They haven't always had CMC. They've had guys like Elijah Mitchell and others in the past in the 2019 season. But that offense just continues to be a machine almost damn near every single year.
Yep. Yeah. What a game.
Go
what
Blue,
game,
baby.
Go Blue.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about it.
Go Blue.
It was ugly. We're going to wear
therapy,
it.
Right?
We're going to wear it.
It's therapy.
Yeah.
We have to. Goodness gracious, man. I thought that Michigan was going to acquit themselves much better than they did. I really did.
Me too.
I have a question for you guys, kind of in this next segment when we get more into it. I don't know, man. Is it too early? Is it too early to start thinking about what Sharon Moore did and didn't do this summer?
After the break.
There we go.
Because there is a lot to unpack about that Saturday. Because as Michigan fans, we're not really used to losing like that. And that's not even meant to be arrogant. It's just factually correct. And not only did Michigan lose, I mean, they got deep-pantsed basically as the big noon kickoff Sunday, the biggest game of the week without a shadow of a doubt. And Michigan got deep pants. But you know where you're always going to succeed? You're never going to get beat by 19 at home.
And you'll never be pantsed.
That's facts. Planet Fitness, of course. Planet Fitness, it's fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card spa featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supplies has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back with 10 plus years of experience and 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code on the screen or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
You already know KDK Law got your back. Wake up, Woodward Sports got your back. Chat family, we're going to need you guys to have our back this morning. Continue to smash that like button. We got a lot of football talk. And in this segment, it's for University of Michigan football. Shout out to Mike G in the chat. He says Sharon didn't do enough in the portal at O-line and at quarterback. And yes, it would have pissed off kids in that room, but who cares? And honestly, for me, a lot of the kind of optimism that I had, it had to do with the fact that I believed Sharon Moore. He had some hype with some of the things that he was doing in the offseason, the coaching, some of the moves that he did do to bring and try and bolster this. And I believed that we were going to get enough out of Alex Orji, and for it to be kind of this exponential swing the other way, where I don't even know if we're going to get anything, and that realistically we're sitting here with a Davis Warren as potentially the best option to just kind of keep the train moving down the tracks, has been absolutely disappointing. And then for it to come at the hands of a bludgeoning by Texas football, man.
And it's a good point that Mike G made, because last year you were returning Trevor Keegan, you were returning Zach Zinter, but you still went out and got Nugent and Ladarius Henderson and Miles Hinton in the transfer portal. And this year, all you did, despite losing all of your starters, was going to get Josh Preby, which I think is going to end up being a good get, and I think it has been so far. But you've got a young, relatively inexperienced, especially compared to past Michigan teams, offensive line. You've got a quarterback in Davis Warren who, let's just be honest, probably shouldn't even start at Eastern Michigan. Maybe he could start at Wayne State. Not trying to disrespect Wayne State or anything, but he is not somebody who should be.
Shout out Rod Beard and Wayne State.
Absolutely. Shout out Joyke Bell, our old friend Joyke Bell. But you know what I mean. Like Davis Warren, it's just not acceptable. And I fully believe, and this is something that I almost have to believe, because I don't think that Sharon Moore's incompetent or anything like that. And I think that they thought as a coaching staff that Alex Orji was going to take that step, that he was going to, I would say, clean some things up with his throwing, because last year they trusted Alex Orji in some really high leverage moments to run the football. And we know what he can do in that regard, especially when the defense doesn't know it's coming, which never happened against Texas, by the way. And honestly, if you want to talk about the Michigan-Texas game, one of the biggest differences in that game, a game in which Michigan didn't even look like they belonged on the same field, is that Texas has an NFL quarterback in Quinn Ewers who played phenomenally. Michigan has Davis Warren and an Alex Orji who can't beat Davis Warren out, which is a major, major indictment on its own.
Yep, and I got a quick question for you, because that's where a lot of my optimism was. Not that the Wolverines didn't have deficiencies that they would have to figure out, but I thought that if Alex Orji was as dynamic as was billed, that I thought him, along with some of the kind of the upperclassmen they still have here that have that national championship experience and could make big plays, I thought that was going to be enough for this team to not get punched in the face over and over and over again by Texas. Another brand that's been trying for a while to say that we're back, and to be able to punch Michigan in the face at the big house on national TV with game day here, that doesn't go over well in recruiting, especially for a guy like Sharon Moore, who right now it's looking like he is Javi Baez whiffed. Look at where they're headed, man.
Well,
I just, man.
Don't bring up Javi Baez in this. I get it. I get it.
I'm sorry.
No. I get it. But I want to, before I pass it over to Broder, I want to take this conversation in a slightly different direction, because this is where I can combine two of my favorite loves in the world, Michigan football and PFF, but I kind of have to use it against Michigan this time.
Help me. Talk me off the ledge.
This isn't exactly what I'm going to be doing, what my intention is.
Just jump. Just jump.
When you look at the PFF big board for right now for the 2025 NFL draft, when you look at the PFF big board top 150, Texas has 5, Michigan has 7. And that's one of the reasons why I thought that even against Texas that they would be able to acquit themselves better, because they've got NFL talent all across the board. One thing that I was disappointed in with this game is that for the most part, the NFL players, even the projected top 5 picks, did not play very well. The only one who did was Will Johnson, who, despite giving up some plays in the previous week, Texas just didn't go at him. They targeted him once. He gave up 1 catch for 6 yards. But that also left Jahmyr Hill on an island to get absolutely torched that game. He gave up 7 for a $103. And speaking of NFL guys, Wink Martindale, looking a little bit too much like Wink Brown or Don Martindale. I'm just saying. One of Don Brown's hallmarks was leaving inferior corners up against wide receivers,
and
like
sending everybody.
One of my worst memories was what Paris Campbell did to Michigan in the 2018 Michigan-Ohio State game when OSU put up 62. I don't like seeing Jahmyr Hill get absolutely torched like that. He was in matchups that he just couldn't win, didn't belong in, and it wasn't. But to further that point on the NFL guys, where Texas's more so thrived and Michigan's didn't, let's look at the pass catchers. Both teams have a first-round projected pass catcher. Texas has Isaiah Bond. He had 3 for 51. Colston Loveland, he fumbled a football without even being touched. You can't have that happen. God. That was a moment in the game where
one of your leaders.
Absolutely. That was a moment in the game where, despite Michigan being thoroughly dominated, had a chance down 17-3 to go get a score before half and then get the ball first coming out of halftime, and then it's a game. Instead, Colston Loveland fumbles when he's about to pick up a first down on 3rd and 11 and just gives the ball right back to Texas. They go down and score. It's 24-3 at halftime, and it is over. Another 2 people who I think need to get some criticism for the game are the interior defensive linemen Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham. Mason Graham doesn't look like a top 5 pick so far this year, and Kenneth Grant doesn't look like a top 15 pick. And Texas, who has an NFL tackle one of the best tackles in the country, and an offensive line that has started a bunch of games together, they won that matchup. I thought that at the very least that Texas's interior offensive line would struggle against Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, and they did not. Texas ran for over 140 yards on 4.5 per carry. Quinn Ewers barely got sniffed on that whole game. He didn't get sacked. It absolutely cannot happen. Texas also has a couple of NFL caliber defensive backs. One of theirs, Macumba, I believe he's the safety. He got one of the picks on Davis Warren to when Michigan was down 14-3. And then that fumble, Colston Loveland, that unforced fumble was recovered by their other NFL defensive back. What's his name? His name is Barron. He's a cornerback, Jahmyr Barron. But before I give it over to Broder, I also have to save some of my wrath for another Michigan guy, one of their heralded transfers. Jayshon Barham's been awful this year. He was absolutely terrible in that game. I was told...
Stop giggling over there, Sparty.
And that's fine. I was told in preseason camp, and I was kind of promised that he was Devin Bush, but bigger. In that game, PFF listed Jayshon Barham against Texas as the worst defensive player on the field for Michigan.
Devin Bush, but bigger, bro.
He looks like Tarzan, but played like Jane in that game. He looked out of position. He looked slow. Running backs were catching balls out of the flat. Gunnar Helm, Texas's tight end, was the best receiver in that game. It was just not a good performance by him. And of course, Donovan Edwards continues to disappoint. So I guess the moral of the story is that, yes, Michigan has a quarterback problem, but they need to rely on their NFL talent in games like this to step up and play big. And the only one who did was Will Johnson. Everybody else disappointed to some extent.
And it was just, I'm going to throw it over to Broder real quick, but it was just even more so the identity. If your quarterback is going to be broken, what did we say was going to help Alex Orji through the season? The fact that we know we can rely on the Michigan run game and Sharon Moore's play calling, and that we saw him do this last year. Maybe some mojo was gone from last year with those players that left. Because I believe, look, especially after the first game, maybe they can at least get 100 yards on the ground, 150 on the ground, and give themselves the ability to slow down the pace, slow down the time, try and control a little bit more of the time of possession, because that was the only chance that they had, in my opinion, and they couldn't get anything going on the floor. And just real quick, this narrative that, and I see you, Eric Allen, Moore is a patsy for the next season or two before they bring in a high-end coach that can bring in higher-end talent. Bro, this is on Sharon Moore. You got the opportunity. You have the opportunity. Yeah. You got to go out there and cash in. Don't sit back and be anybody's patsy. You got the opportunity to go out there and ball. When you're on the floor and the ball is in your hands, you can't talk about anything else that's happened. If you think that you're the man, you have to go out there and do work. Do work. That's just the fabric of this stuff, man.
Broder, what did you see from that game? I know we were all disappointed, but what was the problem?
Yeah, it's so funny that you went to the defensive end, because I know I put the quarterback question in the show sheet. The offense was a question mark before the season, and they haven't answered a single question yet this season. But to me, I was disappointed in the defense. Texas, they're going to be national championship contenders, but you still expect a defense with this much high-end talent to at least, I don't know, keeping the game close is the right phrase, but at least keep it competitive, not let them, let's just call a spade, embarrass you at the big house. They played Michigan's game against Michigan and ran it all over them. And then Quinn Ewers could do whatever he wants. He's an NFL quarterback, or at least will get drafted to the NFL. So the defense, it disappointed me. Looking long-term, though, what troubles me is that they haven't, and I know there's been controversy surrounding the program, and maybe what I'm about to say leads back to Jim Harbaugh's flirting with the NFL, lack of decision-making, whatever it is. They haven't used the national championship or used the Michigan brand or used all the benefit of Michigan football to their advantage to have a well of talent ready to come in after they lose 18 players, 13 starters, to come in and maybe not be at the level they were at the national championship level, but to really not have much of a drop-off. This team, I thought they were going to drop off a little bit, but that it would still be a 10 or 11 win team. Mm-hmm. I still think they have a shot to make the playoff, because if you have 2 losses, you'll get in. they're at risk of losing 3 or more, and you can say or more after we've seen them play these first 2 games.
Well, and I know that it's a little bit of hindsight because I wasn't as worried about the quarterback situation as I now am. I will admit it, with new information.
I'm right there with you.
You're
brother.
allowed to change your
100%.
opinion. This would have actually been the perfect year for a nice bridge quarterback to get us to Jaden Davis.
Yes.
Because Michigan actually does have some quarterbacks in the 24 class, 25, and 26 that are promising. It looks like the quarterback position, at least on paper, will be improved in the coming years. But this season, with all of the talent that they have, especially on the defensive side of the football, and even having a guy like Colston Loveland, and hell, even Donovan Edwards for that regard, a good quarterback might have made this team, I wouldn't want to say like favorites to repeat, but at least almost like a no-doubt playoff team. That team that we saw on Saturday is losing 5 or 6 games. I hate to say it, but with their schedule, especially with USC all of a sudden looking like a really, really tough game, it's tough. It's unfortunate. I will say this. It does make it a little bit easier knowing that Michigan won the national championship last year. If they didn't, if they didn't, I would be on I would probably be in a padded cell room in a straitjacket right now. But as is, I'm more content than I usually am after blowout losses like this, but it was certainly sobering. If there's anything that can get me out of my national championship haze, it's getting beat down by 20 at home against Texas.
And see, that's what I think it is right there. I think you guys just finally answered that age-old question of, would you give up the next, 2 to 3 seasons if you can sit here and say, hey, we won that natty? And I think you're getting that answer as it is right now. As Broder said, I don't think Michigan as a whole has that luxury of Alabama or all these SEC teams that can sit here and just reload after you lose so many players to the NFL, that you don't have that luxury now. You actually have to kind of start to rebuild this thing right back up again and have those quality players ready to go as soon as someone either hits the transfer portal or decides just to leave and commit to the NFL. But hey, like I said, you answered that question. Hey, would you give up the next 2-3 seasons for a natty? You're looking at it right now.
Then to just be like a relevant 10-2 team every year and not get a national championship, yes, I would take that. I would take that trade. Yes.
But if it's on the trajectory of like 5 or 6 losses, it gets a little tough by year 2 or 3 if that's where the trend goes. And then you got to think, what are your recruits doing? And just a quick question before we get into this next segment with the Lions. What do they do? And I'm not the answer can't be, Alex Orji and Davis Warren are going to figure out as quarterback. I don't expect that. But what do they do to salvage at this point, the rest of the season ahead and be able to cash in on some of those early season expectations?
I think it depends on the big dogs. Mason, and I saw people push back a little bit on my Mason Graham criticism. He has not played poorly. I think you could argue that Kenneth Grant has, but Mason Graham has played fine. But what you need is better from him. You need better from Kenneth Grant. You need a lot better from Jayshon Barham. You need better from Donovan Edwards. And you need Colston Loveland to not fumble the ball without being touched. And that's not too much to ask. These are guys who are going to be drafted in the 2025 draft. Multiple of them are going to be drafted in the first round. That is what's going to carry this team through. The big dogs got a big dog. There are some deficiencies. I know that's a lot to ask of some players, but if you're going to be, like in the case of Will Johnson and Mason Graham, projected top 5 picks, you got to play like it. Will Johnson did that on Saturday, but nobody else did who's going to be drafted for Michigan this upcoming year.
Yeah, and I don't think the criticism was too much. I believe in a year like this, where you needed those guys to look like NFL players out there, that's what you have to see every single game this season, or else it can get bad. But you know what? Michigan is still leaders in the best, and I can tell you about something else that is the best. It's Premier Pet Supplies, hands down, Michigan's best pet store. They're offering you all the same prices and the conveniences of the online and the big box retailers with one major difference. They've been family and locally owned and operated for over 30-plus years. Over 60 brands of food and nutrition experts to help you. And they also got same-day, local curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. Visit them online, www.premierpetsupply.com.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had the spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at randywisechevy.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 8th.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Pre-show.
Hey, Detroit. On game day, wake up with Woodward and Maine, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champions, your Detroit Lions. With insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit. Every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m., Woodward and Maine, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller, your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. And it's the New Holland Brewing Company pregame show. Every game day, Neil Rule and Sean Belegian bring you the best Lions pregame show. Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon on Woodward Sports, live at Second Best Bar in Detroit. The latest injury reports, fantasy sit and starts, and the inside scoop on your Detroit Lions. Join us for every Sunday home games live at the Second Best Bar in Detroit, your official guide to Lions game day on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey.
And let me tell you about Guardian Alarm. They offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions that are specific to your needs. It's 24/7 professional monitoring, so you can call us anytime, day or night. And know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you as long as needed, because it is technology that is backed by people. And your safety and security, it deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. All you got to do is call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that number, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, people, welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. And it's an awesome thing that we get to do here at Woodward Sports. Really, beyond just chasing a dream, but honestly serving the people, sports content, culture, personality, and being able to have a place where we can all come together and just kind of have some fun, man. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Silent Mike as well, man. When I think about the types of opportunities that this has afforded us, it's awesome, man. Being able to do like an ad read over a beat, it's like that I had an opportunity to produce. It's like, shout out to Woodward Sports. Shout out to the WUW Crew. Shout out to these guys, man. We got Broder in the building, our credential Tigers, our Lions reporter and writer, intern Chase. Shout out to that dude, Justin and KG. Can't wait to have you guys back in building. Silent Mike filling in today in the sound booth. We got Woodward Sports' MVP, JB-SMOOV in the TD booth. The vet of the squad over here, Flannel Sam. It's your boy, Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. My mom calls me Brandon.
My mom calls me
Brandon. She ain't calling me Kool-Aid. But we gotta get back into the Detroit Lions. It's still a little bit of a hangover, but I've been told that sometimes the best way to get over a hangover is just to indulge again.
Oh, yeah.
So we got to talk about the Detroit Lions and somebody that I know you got no problem talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's Aidan Hutchinson and this defensive line for the Detroit Lions, man.
You know, last season, I'll land the plane, I promise. Last season, I fought for my life for Aidan Hutchinson many a time last year, no matter what show I was on, because there were some people that I thought were a little bit too overly critical of him. And the reason why I mentioned that first is, did you catch Ryan Armani's act yesterday on Armani and Edwards with Maz? I thought the fact that he singled out Aidan Hutchinson as somebody who needed to be better and was just highlighting all of his mistakes while downplaying everything he did well was a disgrace, quite frankly, an absolute disgrace. And that leads me to this, because I think the fact that he's the number 2 overall pick, I think the fact that he was a Michigan product, it distorts people's perception of what he should be. The reality is that he was one of the highest graded defensive ends according to PFF, actually second highest after TJ Watt. He had 1 sack and 4 quarterback hits, which is absolutely elite. That means you're on pace for 17 sacks and 68 quarterback hits. And he had a pass rush win rate, which was damn near 48%, which is absurd. When you saw the game, you saw him continuing to beat his man damn near every single time. It's just that when you go up against an offense that is, headed by Sean McVay, who's a brilliant offensive mind, I know we all agree, and they have Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, which when they're on, they're one of the deadliest quarterback wide receiver combinations in the NFL. They exploited that. They knew that Aidan Hutchinson would beat the backup tackles, so they used a lot of 3-step drop, get rid of the ball. And we all
wait, get rid of the ball how? How quickly?
Very quickly.
That's it. And Dan Campbell talked about that.
Yes.
He said that their game plan, he said, I don't care if they had high school tackles out there. You're not beating them with getting to the quarterback with how quickly they were intentionally getting the ball out. And honestly, Aidan Hutchinson, what a game, man. We sat and we watched the game together, a lot of us out of Hayes Social for the watch party, and it was routine he was beating him, but the ball was just gone. It wasn't even like Hutchinson was, all right, I'm trying to get to the quarterback, the play is extending, and now I'm finally to him just because of how long the play went. No, he was in the backfield quick, but the ball was gone. He was making sure to put some punishment on Matthew Stafford. I don't know what people are looking at. There were plays where Aidan Hutchinson wasn't even touched getting into the backfield. I'm talking about a right move and into the left. Our Curry, whoever, you're irrelevant after what Aidan Hutchinson did. He's falling to the right while Aidan Hutchinson has a clear shot at Stafford, and Stafford's just going to get rid of the ball. Yes. That's what I continue to see all game.
Well, and just let me put this into perspective, because, what do you want from him? Sometimes people, and I think Ryan Armani fell victim to this, do you need him to get 2 sacks? Do you need him to get 3? You do realize that 2 sacks a game would break the record by more than 10. It would give you 34. The record for in a season is 22.5. My point with that is sacks are rare. If you can get 1 to end regulation, by the way, and you can just provide consistent pressure and consistently get after, in this case, Matthew Stafford, and be stout against the run, you had a great game. You do realize, and this is directed at Ryan Armani and everybody of his ilk who were criticizing Aidan Hutchinson, that the all-time leader for sacks per game is TJ Watt at 0.93. The man who a lot of people consider the greatest defensive player of all time, and Tom Mazaway will tell you is the greatest football player of all time, Lawrence Taylor, 0.79. Aidan Hutchinson is fine. Aidan Hutchinson is the least of this team's problems. If you're going to criticize or single out anyone on this defensive line, it would be Aleem McNeil. And I'm not even trying to do that in week 1. But Aidan Hutchinson?
But it's fair, though, because we were all sitting there, and it's not like anybody's trying to hate on Aleem McNeil. We all sat here and we talked about the $20 million man. Shout out to Kevin Zeitler. And just the question we all had, we were still supportive, still trying to see the best, was, has anybody heard Aleem McNeil's name called? We were all just kind of pondering that, and it was like, we haven't really seen much. We haven't really heard much from Aleem McNeil. Shout out to Davenport, who I thought did a great job. But this one kind of aggravates me. Ed Catillas. Sam, you need to find someone else to prop up Hutch. All you see is the positive.
He had a great game, and they won. He had a sack, 4 quarterback hits in a game in which the Lions gave up 20 points and won the game. There's nothing else to talk about at this point. As I said before, that is the type of performance in week 1 that can catapult, and I don't believe this is going to happen, a Defensive Player of the Year season. And, I just don't get what, as I said before, 2 sacks. You cannot go into a game saying 2 sacks or bust. I don't, backup offensive lineman be damned. It's like saying, Jared Goff, if you don't have 4 touchdown passes, then you didn't do enough. Because 4 touchdown passes a game would give you 68, which would break the record by 13. Jahmyr Gibbs, you must have 150 rushing yards or you didn't do enough. Gotta be $150 or bust. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you have to have 150 receiving yards or you didn't do enough. You hear how ridiculous you sound? Do you hear how ridiculous I sound right there? Let me just put this into perspective. 2 sacks a game would break the all-time record in a 17-game season, a 16-game season, a 14-game season, and remember back before the Super Bowl era, they had 12-game seasons. It would still break the record. Shut up, Ryan Armani. Stop putting together narratives that you know are false. That was a disgrace, and I respect Ryan Armani a lot, but the fact that you're singling out Aidan Hutchinson as somebody who underperformed.
Did he single out the trips? Remember we were sitting there, we were wondering like, oh no, Aidan Hutchinson must have slipped. And then they showed the replay and it was just a blatant trip. Yes. Like 2 or 3 plays, the face masks that they missed. Even so much so that it happened, one of them happened right in front of the ref, and he still looked and was like, holding call. Yeah. It's just like, no, that's the face mask that you guys have been missing all game. And you know what? Make Aidan Hutchinson mad. Yep. Make Tyrell Williams have to get back into the lab and say, okay, how are these guys going to attack? Because honestly, there is nothing that the Rams did protection-wise that helped Stafford. It was Stafford getting the ball out quickly that helped Stafford. And then for me personally, if you tell me going into the game, Mike G said Hutch had 9 pressures and a sack. Everybody crying about, pressures, where's the sack? If you tell me going into the game that Hutch is going to have any of these people that want to be a detractor, he's going to have 9 pressures and a big sack. That's going to ensure that Stafford don't dot you for 20 yards and then kick a field goal and bye-bye Lions. He's going to have a big sack that sends this thing to overtime, that pressures all game, that's making him dink and dunk all game, because what if Stafford had the opportunity to sit back and air it out? He didn't, because Aidan Hutchinson was in his lap all game long. You guys would have taken that.
And remember, too, and this is where I was mad before. This is where I got even more mad. And I know we're a little bit long, but I got to get this out. Even with the sack, Ryan Armani was just like, I was at the end of the game. You don't get to be count the sacks, bruh, guy, and then not like how he gets them. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to single out anybody, the fact that it's Aidan Hutchinson, I don't want to do this again this year, guys. I did it all last year. I felt like we were all kumbaya about Aidan Hutchinson, and then I heard our very own Ryan Armani. Neil Rule was even cool with Hutch. And you know I have had knockdown dragouts with Neil Rule. He didn't say a word. Ryan Armani did? Come on.
Lions, man. I thought we was hungover, but we indulged, and now we are back on one, boy. I love it. I love it. Chat family, continue to smash that like button, share the stream, help out the WUW Crew, and stay tapped in with all of Woodward Sports. Your support is awesome. Shout out to Burn for the $5 super chat before we get into this next segment. Sam, Lions fans are kind of dumb. What looks it, man? We ain't doing that. We ain't no fan crime. Speaking as Lions fans, also Strahan had 3 games with 0 sacks in his record season in 2001, and we're complaining about a Hutch game in which he has a sack in game 1.
He had 1. Myles Garrett last year. Remember that 4-game stretch where Aidan Hutchinson didn't get a sack? Myles Garrett, the defensive player of the year, also had a 4-game stretch where he didn't have a sack. It happens. There are ways in which you can game plan if you're the opposing offense to render Hutch as ineffective as absolutely possible. And Hutch wasn't ineffective. It's just that with Stafford, with Kupp, with Nacua at the beginning, with Sean McVay heading your offense, you have the skill set in order to get rid of the ball quickly. Who runs better slot quick routes than Cooper Kupp in the NFL? Nobody. Who can get rid of the ball at certain arm angles better than Matthew Stafford? Nobody. Who's a more brilliant offensive mind in the NFL than Sean McVay? Maybe Andy Reid, maybe Kyle Shanahan. Other than that, nobody.
Maybe Ben Johnson.
But I got to give Sean McVay the vote because he's a head coach. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. It's got to be a head coach thing. He is the guy calling the shots, and you see him on the sideline stressing the hell out to the tune of his team having success, except for against the Detroit Lions. But and that's the awesome thing. I can tell you about something else that's awesome. You know what? We're going to talk about it. This secondary against, honestly, Matthew Stafford and some pretty good wide receivers. And something else that's awesome is where a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for men. All you got to do is stop in, sit back, and relax, and let one of Lady Jane's talented hairstylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it is wicked awesome. Wicked awesome.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A ton ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Pierce, attention. I'm sorry, dog. I love WUW Crew. I love WUW Crew. Dog, these breaks, man, sometimes, man, if we could have you guys be flies on the wall. Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy and every Thursday on Armani and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that DMAC trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. And we are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. I love my WUW Crew family. I love the chat family. I love Flannel Sam. These guys are hilarious, man. Golly. But we got a little bit more Detroit Lions to talk about. And we're also going to get around the NFL and get these top 10 NFL power rankings from Broder and Flannel and see if there's anything that we need to correct with those lists. But we were talking about this defense. I want to spend a little bit more time on the defensive line before we move into the secondary. And Broder, I want to be able to kind of get your perspective on this thing. Hutch, Davenport, some news of potentially Reader this weekend.
Reader's playing this weekend. Reader's playing against the Bucs. It was their plan all along. Little surprised he didn't play at all this past weekend. But Dan Campbell, for the last couple days now, said, we're planning on Reader this weekend. And that's a huge addition. We are talking about one of the better defensive tackles in the entire NFL. Maybe not from a pass rush perspective, but just as a defensive tackle, one of the best in the league. And like we've been talking about all offseason, the goal of him is to help open up all these lanes for Hutch, for McNeil, and for two guys I want to talk about right now, Levi O and Marcus Davenport. It took me, I didn't realize the impact that Marcus Davenport had on the game until I rewatched it over yesterday. Like, I saw him in the backfield a lot. I saw him making some plays. I saw him over pursuing some when I watched it live on Saturday. But the dude was a beast. Like, not only is he a massive human being, but he was making an impact, helping Hutch. I don't want to say helping Hutch get home because we just talked about he didn't have 2 or 3 sacks like everyone is calling for. But Matthew Stafford and that Rams offense, they got the ball out so quick. There's very little that defensive line could do. But Marcus Davenport and Levi O, they made an impact. Listen to this video from Dan Campbell. I believe it was after the game. I can't remember if it was his post game or his press conference yesterday. But he talked about Hutch and Davenport and how Davenport really can help Hutch, especially moving forward. Check this out.
This was the vision the whole time. This is what we knew we were going to get when we got Davenport. And we felt really good about the production Hutch is bringing and brought last year and what he was going to be able to bring this year. And then just the thought of somebody who can crunch the can over there, man, crush the can and send him his way a little bit or vice versa. And that's what Davenport can do. He's long, he's physical, he's strong. He's a big man, and so that showed up today. It showed up. We were able to hem him up a few times in there, and so it's good for him. It's going to be good for Hutch, and it's going to be good for Davenport.
Yeah. So if you think if Matthew Stafford would hang on to the ball a second more, you'll see when he's releasing the ball in this game, that pocket is collapsing. They were getting the pressure. It just came out so fast. Mm-hmm. Seeing that come from both sides and seeing them being able to switch sides, Davenport, Aidan Hutchinson, we didn't even see James Houston, who was a healthy scratch. Levi O got in up the middle, the half a sack he shared with Davenport. there's something brewing here, Flannel and Kool-Aid. Like, they're building a pretty beastly defensive line, a line that I don't have questions about moving forward.
Bro, that's madness. As you continue to state it, I'm just sitting here like, yo, the confidence that Dan Campbell has in his team, in their game plan, in the fact that they can overcome rookies playing in their first game against one of the best wide receiving tandems in the NFL and one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You got a defensive line that was down 2 players that we believe was going to be in the mix to play in that first game. And DJ Reader being a guy that we expect to have a big season. James Houston, a guy that we hope has a big season. And they still went out there against a team that I know had some injuries and they're working through some things of their own. But they won that game. Yep. Like, you can't play too close to the sun too much. And I know that Dan Campbell has a healthy pulse on this team. But it's awesome to see that squad, not playing that full tilt, can go out there and handle business, man. That's dope.
And the frustrating thing about Marcus Davenport's career is that, and the frustrating thing and potentially great thing for the Lions moving forward about Marcus Davenport's career is that in a year as recent as 2021, he was an elite edge rusher in this league. The only thing that kept him from being a Pro Bowler and a borderline All-Pro was he only played 11 games that year. He had 9 sacks. He was constantly getting pressure, a bunch of hits and all of that. And in this game, Aidan Hutchinson had 4 quarterback hits. So did Marcus Davenport. That sack that Davenport shared with Levi Onwuzurike, Marcus Davenport got there first. And if you want to talk about collapsing the pocket, the biggest play of the game was that Kirby Joseph interception in the end zone. Matthew Stafford had to deliver it off of his back foot under duress because Hutchinson and Davenport were coming at him from both sides. They were damn near about to meet at Matthew Stafford and make themselves a Matthew Stafford sandwich. So what did Stafford have to do? Throw it off his back foot before he wanted to, had no zip on the ball, right into the waiting hands of Kirby Joseph. So to me, as much as I want to prop up Aidan Hutchinson's day and say that he was the star of the defense, which he undoubtedly was, I like the fact that both him and Marcus Davenport performed, because if they can be that deadly edge rusher duo, which I know they can be if Marcus Davenport is healthy and plays up to his ability, this is a defense that could be a problem moving forward. That's the key to the top 10 defense.
Because they have players in that secondary that have proven to be opportunistic, that have proven now that they can square up and tackle, like Terrion Arnold. There were some mistakes. There are things to improve on. But his tackling ability, his ability to keep players in front of him and not get bowled over, to win at the point of contact, that's where you're tackled. There's not an extra yard or 2. I love that dog mentality out of him. And curves, man. Oh, you can't write the script any better.
Secondary,
this
baby.
Secondary, man. This secondary. The one thing I did see, there were people who, Broder, were questioning Brian Branch.
I'm not questioning Brian Branch.
Is that fair? No, I know you weren't.
Okay,
Broder was not.
Good.
No, because I don't think that any of us, is there things for them to improve upon? Of course. Are there things we can discuss? Yeah. But largely, I believe that Brian Branch brought a certain swag to that game. And the way that he hits, there were several times where I didn't see the green mouthpiece. I didn't see the jersey number. I just heard a smack. And you knew that was Brian Branch. He's still a young player that is going to be growing and playing wherever the coaches ask him to play. You know what I mean? But the secondary, I think that as opportunistic as they are, the microcosm of what this team can be and what this defense can be, to your point, is the pressure that the defensive line gets and the fact that we know that secondary has a few more pieces in there that can absolutely clean things up. I'm glad that Carlton Davis and Amik Robertson showed up as well.
You know what? More on that secondary after the break, because I got some things to say on Brian Branch in particular, Terrion Arnold, Carlton Davis, all of that, and I know Broder and the rest of us do as well. Sir. But tell us about Swiss.
Hey, now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your current carrier is not slipping in anything extra.
Take that.
Raising deductibles, all that stuff over there that JB-SMOOV is telling you all about. All you got to do, call our guy Mark at Swiss Insurance. That number is on the screen, 313-530-1698, or visit them online, SwissINS.com, and let them know that Woodward Sports sent you.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Hey, did somebody say merch? You know what, do yourself a favor, head over to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. We've got new designs that are dropping every single week for you, but you already got the Stoke Not Scared shirt, so I hope you have the Boo Them Kids shirt that is out right now that hopefully you wore downtown and inside Ford Field just to let Matt Stafford know where we all stand. And you can't forget about the Woodward Tigers as well either. Hey, you know what? They're picking up steam, so you need to pick up some gear. Head over to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. Hey, we got a chance this year, baby. We got a chance.
Got a chance, man. Shout out to Woodward Sports MVP over there in the TV booth. This has been Wake Up Woodward. Thank you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. It's been a great day. Shout out to Silent Mike. He's filling in on the sounds today. And up here on the desk, Flannel Sam, Detroit Kool-Aid. We got Matthew Broder here. And I know that there's a video that you want us to be able to see with Dan Campbell talking about Brian Branch, and it's kind of along the same line of conversation we've already been having about.
Yeah, he was talking about Terrion Arnold, about Brian Branch, and there's some really good sound bites about this secondary. And right before we play it, there was this on the Terrion Arnold subject. Ben Raven after the game, he tweeted, Terrion Arnold says Cooper Kupp told him after his game that he's one of those ones. To hear that from Cooper Kupp is huge. Raven continued to explain. He says, I mean, he's a competitive football player. This is Cooper Kupp talking. I think that's the thing. A young guy being able to come up and compete and challenge guys, he's just going to continue to get better and better as the year goes on. It's a great quote. I just cut it in half. But Dan Campbell, after the game, he doubled down on, all right, there were some rookie mistakes. He didn't have a huge problem with the penalties. They were a little bit ticky-tack. But he's got confidence in these guys going forward. Listen what he says about TA and about Brian Branch.
We got a lot of room to grow. But yet, man, there was things in that game I was really proud of on the back end. You know, it was good to see Carlton get in there, and man, it was a huge fourth down stop that he had on the perimeter, but he squeezed in the run game. I just, was it his best game? No, but he did a lot of good things. TA, it's very evident it's not too big for him. He's got a lot to clean up, but yet, man, it was very promising, I mean, he was in stride. He showed up for us, and he's only going to get better and better. It was good to see. And, BB, I already talked about Kirby. I thought Kirby did a good job, and BB, made a lot of plays. But then, one of the first things he says when he's come back in the locker room, he's like, I won't miss those tackles anymore, and so he knows it, and he's really one of our best tacklers in general. He's got a first game under his belt, but all in all, man, just cleaning up some of the communication, but I thought it was promising where our D-backs are at.
Promising. He understood it's not their cleanest game, Flannel, but there's promise. He sees things he likes moving forward.
Yeah, and this is where I'm going to tie it into a little bit as to why I was so, I don't want to say upset, but annoyed with Ryan Armani going after Aidan Hutchinson so hard. Because with these corners, the way that they played, I'm going to exclude Terrion Arnold from this because he's a rookie playing his first game. There are some things that you could nitpick. Certainly. Brian Branch with his missed tackles. Very uncharacteristic. They were pretty big moments in the game too, but at the same time, he also had 3 pass breakups and was still all over the field like he usually is, being as versatile as can possibly be, playing slot corner, playing safety, and for the most part, doing a stellar job. Carlton Davis, the same thing. On that long catch and run, that 60-plus yarder to Tyler Johnson, Carlton Davis was guarding Tyler Johnson. Tyler Johnson stopped on a dime and basically shook Carlton Davis out of his shoes. Brian Branch as well, and then proceeded to scamper over 60 yards. And on the Cooper Kupp touchdown, Cooper Kupp did some very fancy motion and basically shook Carlton Davis out of his shoes. That's all. Those are things that you can get on them for, but at the same time, I think that they both did enough good, especially when it comes to keeping receivers in front of them, that makes up for whatever mistakes that they had. And that's Terrion Arnold as well. When you look up Terrion Arnold in the game he played, he gave up 8 receptions when targeted, but for 57 yards. I mean, you'll live with that, especially when you're going up against Cooper Kupp and at the beginning of the game, Puka Nacua. You will live with that.
And not just that, high volume. Let's put this in perspective. Get on my Flannel Sam a little bit. Matthew Stafford threw how many passes? 49.
50, yeah, 49.
Do you know how many passes were thrown combined between the Jets and the 49ers? 50. 50. So you're talking about a secondary who is under extreme duress, probably facing twice as many opportunities as they normally would. What if they were facing the 21 passes from Aaron Rodgers last night? What if they were facing the 29 from Brock Purdy last night? I think that they look even better. But you're asking a defense to overextend because they're playing a team that is slicing and dicing with quick passes. That's going to put a certain stress on a defense. That's why you're going to see them potentially be out of position to make certain tackles. But they still won the game, and they held in check a team that threw 49 times and only got 317 yards.
Well, I was a little bit, I wouldn't say concerned with Terrion Arnold as an overall player, but I'm like, his rookie debut, he's probably going to get got for a big play. He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Talk about it.
He kept every single thing in front of him. And yeah, Cooper Kupp beat him a couple of times, but there were also some plays Terrion Arnold made where, he stopped receivers for a minimal gain. And of course, he was excellent in run support, as we knew he would be because he was at Alabama. And Carlton Davis, somebody who I gave a little bit of criticism for, he led the team in tackles with 10. Other than that one play he gave up to Tyler Johnson, he gave up 8 receptions for 51 yards, including that Cooper Kupp touchdown. So kind of the same thing. Kept everything in front of him, and he also forced 4 incomplete passes as well. Was it a perfect performance by the secondary? Certainly not. But was it enough to win this game, given all of the circumstances, especially with the pass rushers forcing Stafford to get rid of the ball early and the DB's primary objective to keep the receivers in front of them? Absolutely they did. I've got confidence in the secondary moving forward, and I think they acquitted themselves well.
Yeah, I think a little bit of it, some of the schemes, and we have to just kind of call it what it is. I think that the way that we saw Terrion Arnold playing, keeping everything in front of him, is the theme of this defense. That's why between the 20s, you may see them get gashed for some yards, but when you get into that red zone, they get even more stout. Denver Blair said AG needs to adjust to those checkdowns when in reality, I believe that they're trying to force teams to those checkdowns. Obviously, and that's where you then see teams get to a point where they're doing things like just chuck it down the field to your number one receiver because you got to take those shots against this defense. They're effectively playing an aggressive, I don't want to say prevent defense, but an aggressive style of defense. When you know your defensive line can operate it on its own, it allows your defense, the other 2 layers behind, to just keep everything in front and try and just limit the big plays when you can. And I believe that with more talent now, you have the opportunity to have guys like Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold, who we saw make individual plays on the ball. Did they get beat sometimes? Yes. But I am very optimistic about where they go from here because of just how stout they were in man-to-man coverage and in situations where we needed them to make some plays. I was okay with it.
And in certain situations, like different teams are going to dictate different game plans. What like I keep repeating ad nauseum, one of the reasons why the Rams really ate on the short passes game was because they had no choice. Matthew Stafford couldn't wait for routes to develop because he would have got his head taken off by Aidan Hutchinson even more often than he did. But credit to the Rams. They adjusted. They were able to move the ball most of the game. But when it came down to it, I told you about the 4 drives that they had that ended inside the Lions' red zone that combined for 6 points. In the NFL, sometimes that's where you're going to have to live, especially if, think about this. if Cooper Kupp is just running one of those short out routes, who's stopping that? Nobody is. He's going to get 3 or 4 yards whether you like it or not, but you'll take that. What you don't want is that one pass that Matthew Stafford completed where Cooper Kupp did that toe drag on the sideline for like 20. That's what you want to prevent. And that was just a special play by Stafford and Cooper Kupp. But for the most part, it's keeping things in front of you. And when it gets to third down, when it gets to the red zone, when it gets time to make a game-changing play, hello, Kirby Joseph, make those. Make it when it's timely.
Yeah, and we're talking all this about coverage on the opposing wide receivers. And yes, I kind of would have liked to see him play a little more man coverage when they were up 17-3 versus flipping his zone in most of the second half. But do you remember, although I was kind of impressed that the Rams were committed to the run game with their depleted offensive line, do you remember Corum or Kyron Williams getting loose on the outside very much? No, these cornerbacks that they brought in, Carlton Davis, Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, Amik Robertson, they're all fantastic tacklers. They're not afraid to get dirty and get up into the run game to make sure that the teams can't run to the outside. They can't do any of that tricky stuff. The Rams' offense was relatively one-dimensional, and McVay, Stafford, and Kupp are good enough to do what they did.
Yep.
But there really wasn't a lot much else that offense could do. It just happened to be a close game, and we look back, and it's like, man, they were depleted, they were injured, and the Lions didn't blow them out. I said stuff like that yesterday. But when you think about it, they took care of everything that they could. They just let Stafford and Cooper Kupp play.
Yeah, and you know what? It's because the Rams tried to force that. When you look at what this Lions defense did, 83 yards rushing given up. That's it. Total.
You'll take that any day of the week.
Under 4 yards a carry. Yep. You'll take that any day of the week. And then Stafford, I kept seeing everybody in the world talking about 317 yards, 317 yards, 317 yards. Guys, he got 6.5 yards a throw, 317 yards on 49 attempts, and a QBR of 62.9 and a rating of 85.2. The defense did a good job facing, honestly, a lot of attempts. Yeah, they did their job.
And I think the moral of the story when it comes to Stafford is that he didn't play as well as some of the national media likes to say that he did, but he also didn't play poorly by any stretch of the imagination. He did, for the most part, what he could do with what was around him, especially with Puka Nacua being out and both of his tackles being out. The difference in the game, though, is that the Lions forced that terrible end zone interception. That's what wins games in the NFL. You're not going to stop and shut down the Stafford to Cooper to Kupp game, but if you're going to allow Cooper Kupp to have 14 catches, 110 yards ain't so bad.
Not at all.
In a win, in a game where you give up 20 points, you'll take that. Of course, you don't want Cooper Kupp to have 14 catches, and that's on pace to break the receptions record. Yep. But they won, and Cooper Kupp didn't make huge plays consistently. He had that toe drag. He had that touchdown, but it was a lot of 5-yard outs, which, as I said, nobody stops a Cooper Kupp 5-yard out.
That's it. You want your star. If you're going to face a star receiver, 100 yards, a few couple big plays maybe, but it can't be the CeeDee Lambs and the Jefferson type.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you guys, your secondary doesn't matter to us.
Well, that's why it's not concerning this game. It's not like, Puka putting up like 9 for $181 in the playoff game last year.
Yep.
I think this is a secondary that won't allow games like that to happen anymore.
Well, it's time, and I've seen people in the chat talking about it. It's time for the top 10 NFL power rankings. Broder and Flannel, they're going to reveal. I can't wait for this thing. Guys, stay tapped in to the next segment and hit that like button as well.
Absolutely. But first, I got to tell you about Les Stanford, the man where the heavyweight Spencer Raxter trusted to get his car when he was having some issues, saved his life. Or saved his, I'm just going to move on. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC, the same great service that customers have come to know and trust, on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Hey, what up, though, people? It's Detroit Lions season, and you already know Woodward Sports is on the front lines with all of your programming. 4 shows in one day to keep you guys just drunk on Lions Kool-Aid. And listen, New Holland Brewing Company, they sponsor the watch party with the heavyweights as well as the post-game show with Stick and Anton. And it's the New Holland Brewing Company watch party held at Hayes Social in Shelby Township. The first one was awesome, bro. It was awesome. And I just got some news, too. We got another sponsor that just entered the chat. Shout out to Soroki's as well. It's going to be awesome. For the biggest watch party in Metro Detroit and post-game, it is right here on Woodward Sports Network, your number one digital sports outlet. And this is brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller, your local long drink, Soroki's, and Sabbath Coffee. Want to be there. Let's rock. And we are back. It is Top 10 Tuesdays. This one is a Lions and NFL edition. I say Lions because we already know if they're going to be in each of you guys' top 10s. But I need to see where the differences are going to be. I've been looking forward to this segment, as has I know a lot of people in the chat as well, since Broder teased it. And we got to go around the NFL to get these power rankings. I want you to start off, Flannel. Whip it out and reveal it for the people.
With the correct list, of course.
The correct list?
Throw it up there, JB.
Broder didn't even flinch. He didn't even look up.
No, it's all right. At number 1, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. No surprise there. Defending Super Bowl champions, took care of business and looked really good doing it against a really good Ravens team at home, showing who the class of the AFC truly is. At number 2, the San Francisco 49ers. They dominated last night's game against the Jets from start to finish, dominated a Jets defense, which was without Hassan Reddick, but still very talented, and ran all up and down the field despite no CMC. Very impressive performance. At 3, I've got the Detroit Lions. Not as impressive as what the 49ers did, but they still got the job done. You saw a new wrinkle in their offense with Jameson Williams having the best game as a pro, which, you know, moving forward, I think that could be a problem for other teams. So the Lions are still at 3. At 4, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. They beat a really good Packers team, which for the most game, Jordan Love led Packers team. They got him hurt later in the game. But the reason I got the Eagles so high and why I'm so high on them is because Saquon Barkley's a difference maker. Woo. He had himself a hell of a game, and Broder's preseason prediction of him winning Offensive Player of the Year
made him look good.
He's off to a good start. Number 5, Houston Texans. And one of the reasons I got the Texans is because we know they were an already very talented team led by C.J. Stroud last year. Their new additions, Joe Mixon had over 150 yards rushing and Stephon Diggs had 2 receiving touchdowns. They're going to be a problem, as we all know.
Before number 6.
Yes.
You know that you already got the chat on fire, right?
Oh,
Don't
boy.
look at it yet. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go.
At number 6, the Buffalo Bills. Everybody knows that, like, I wear my Mahomes cape, and then I take that off, and I wear my Josh Allen cape. And he had 4 touchdowns accounted for. You saw Keon Coleman, who I suspected would look good in this offense, lead the team in receiving. You saw James Cook was really good. Josh Allen finally has a running back, and Greg Rousseau, 3 sacks, Von Miller with 1. I knew their defensive line would eat, and they most certainly did. Number 7, Dallas Cowboys. Say what you want about them. They went into Cleveland and took their heads off. And I get it, Deshaun Watson sucks, but that's still a very, very...
Sucks.
A very, very...
Terrible.
Going into Cleveland and winning like
Deshaun
that
Watson
is
sucks.
not something that you can
Literally
take lightly. Hey. He probably got sucked more, but more,
Jeez.
Allegedly. At number 8. At number 8, I have the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, I had concerns about their defensive line, but they held the Jacksonville Jaguars to 17 points, and they may have the most devastating play in all of NFL football. The long play to Tyreek Hill, reared its ugly head again, or if you're a Dolphins, did the exact opposite of that. An 80-yard touchdown. Tyreek Hill is such a weapon, and Jalen Waddle got loose for a 60-plus-1 as well. That is your most concerning thing if you're playing the Miami Dolphins. At number 9, I got the Chargers. Reason I got the Chargers, I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. And what I like to see about that game is that Justin Herbert was looking around saying, oh my God, I finally have a head coach. I've got a defense, I've got a running game, and I've got health. I don't know what that's like. and you saw what happened in that game. Herbert wasn't great, but he just managed the game and let J.K. Dobbins do a lot of the work offensively, and the defense held the Raiders to 10 points. I like this Chargers team if Justin Herbert is surrounded with the requisite things around him. And at number 10,
one more team.
A lot of people are not going to like
one
this.
More team.
I don't.
The Chicago Bears. And it's quite simply this. I know Caleb Williams was awful. I think he'll be better. That defense might be dominant. It just might be. You saw, and I want to just highlight this really quick. The Bears made a move in late August that I didn't even know that they made. It went really under the radar. They acquired Darrell Taylor from the Seattle Seahawks to give Montez Sweat a potential bookend. The dude had 2 sacks. Tyreek Stevenson, the opposite corner to Jalen Johnson, who we all know is great, had a pick 6. This defense, man, it could end up being really, really nasty. And we already know how good they were against the run last year. So for that reason, I got the Bears at 10. Concerns about Caleb Williams, sure, but I'm bullish on him moving forward. I think it was just a bad debut, and I believe in that defense 100%.
Now, Sam.
Yeah, people are not going to like this.
I'm going to be the voice of the chat here right now.
All right.
Denver Blair. The Bears, Sam. Ryan's reaction. How are the Bears top 10? Brandon Hassel. Bears over the Ravens? Bears?
Wait a minute.
E-Fog?
Let me give my a rule for old Flannel Sam's list. Just a rule for mine.
Xavier D. Bears?
If you were going to be on my initial top 10, you had to win week 1. That's my rule. Is it the best rule? I think it is, but you guys might not agree, and Broder might not abide by that rule. But my rule is you have to have won week 1.
Well, what do you say to Shane D, though, who says that the Bears are trash can diggers?
I see. It's a lot of hate towards the Bears as Lions fans, and I get it. I 100% get that, but I was impressed by the performance the defense gave, and even the special teams. They blocked a punt and returned it for a touchdown. I know Caleb Williams was terrible, but doesn't that make it that much worse that Caleb Williams played what might be the worst game of his entire career moving forward, and he got away with it? That says something about the team that he has around him, and the defense and the special teams, and
I was like, hey, you know what? People are going to pick apart the list.
Yeah.
They picked apart 10. That is it. Ryan's reaction, 499 said, so you're ranking the Bears off potential, not performance?
Defense, man. That defense was dominant, and they created points. It was a terrible Will Levis throw, but they were opportunistic. And the special teams, blocking a punt and returning it for a touchdown, that's been a hallmark of good Bears teams as a tale as old as time. So I'm not saying that I like it. I'm not saying it's going to be that way next week. They play the Texans. They're probably going to lose. But for right now, they're my number 10.
Yeah, I'm with you on that Bears defense.
Yes.
Like for me, they move from like a 22 to 27th ranked team, like closer to top 15 just because of that defense. But, man, that offensive line was so bad. Caleb Williams, I think, will be better, just didn't impress me. I'm just not ready to put the Bears up there yet. And I know this might be a moot point because you gave me your rule. If you lost, you're not in the top 10.
It's my rule. You don't have to abide.
Yeah, and I didn't. Spoiler. The Bears aren't in my top 10. But you really think even 0-1 that the Ravens don't belong in the top 10?
Or even the Rams.
Like they didn't show you, or the Rams, or I have a team with a loss, not named either of those, that made it to number 10 for me. that we'll show in a second. But
tease.
So, rule aside, did you see enough in the Ravens in their loss to the number 1 team on your power ranking? A good game against
on
the
the
Chiefs.
road. I know.
I just think that defense, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, playoffs are a different story, but I think they got to be top 7.
They're calling it your Bears now.
Okay. I don't have a good reason other than I'm following the integrity of my rules.
Fair.
And and are the Ravens better than the Bears? Sure they are. And did they have a much tougher opponent than the Bears did? Yes. It's just my rules, my list, and going forward, I think the Ravens will probably make an appearance on most everyone moving forward.
So we got Broder's Harem that has Fish Girl, Lizzie from Canton, and Crystal with an X. And now we have Flannel's teams, the Chiefs, the Lions, and now the Bears.
Jesus Christ.
We got to see which teams are going to be Broder's, man. It's Top 10 Tuesdays. Whip it out for the people, bro.
Let's go. Let's go.
rock.
Here's my top 10 list. Some similarities, some differences. I'm going to fly through these and just hit the teams for the most part that Flannel didn't touch. We got Kansas City number 1. I have the Lions number 2. They started the season for me as number 2 in the NFL, and they stay right there. Kansas City Chiefs, they solidified their spot at number 1. That offense was impressive to me. The defense got better. I like them. I got the 49ers. I had the Baltimore Ravens at number 3. I'm moving the 49ers up there to lose C-Mac, not lose anything else, and just dominate the Jets, a really good Jets defense. I'm into it. The Eagles show me a lot. Flannel hit on it. Saquon Barkley, my offensive player of the year pick before the season, looked exactly like I thought he was going to look like behind that offensive line. Texans look great. Baltimore Ravens coming in at 0-1 are my number 6 team. The Cowboys, who were not in my top 10 to start the season, they got all their guys signed. Micah Parsons will be a defensive player of the year candidate for the next 10 years. The dude is a freak. They got to be up there. Miami Dolphins at number 8. Here's where I got some differences. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 9. Ooh. And I have the Indianapolis Colts with 1 loss. 1 loss to my number 5 team on the power ranking, the Houston Texans. I have them at number 10. The Buccaneers, to me, I love their trenches. The Lions and Dan Campbell, they've changed just about everything I think about football now. I look there first. Quarterback and trenches.
You've been a little more bullish on the Buccaneers. You even pushed back against me. I was like, I want to wait and see first. I believe they got the recipe to be one of these types of teams. They put it up in the playoffs. We saw what they could be, and they tested the Lions. They pushed them in both games they played.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see, were they going to be able to bounce back from some of the losses last year? And that first week, I told you I wanted to see something. They showed something.
Yeah, and they still have question marks. Their secondary, they've lost a lot of their starting cornerbacks. They've now lost Antoine Winfield for the next 2 weeks, which we'll talk about when we get into Buccaneers coverage later this week. But I love that offensive line. I love Rachaad White and Bucky Irving. That two-headed monster that they have behind that offensive line, big fan. And the biggest question I was waiting for to be answered was, can the offense either stay where they were or get better with losing Dave Canales, who I thought did a great job with Baker in that offense last year. I know they were playing Washington. Take it with a grain of salt. But 4 touchdowns for Baker, 37 points for that offense. They at least have something going on. That's why they're my number 9 team. And the Colts, again, they still got some question marks, but I really like their roster. And if Anthony Richardson plays good, he doesn't even have to play great every week. If he plays good, limits his turnovers, which will be a problem throughout the year, but if he limits them, this team is really good. They are balanced. They got a good offensive line. They got Jonathan Taylor. They have 6 wide receivers, similar to the Packers, who's their number 1, but they got 6 really good ones. And then I think their defense is going to continue to get better each and every week. Next up, Bills. Next up, Steelers. Wasn't ready to give the Bills, even though Josh Allen's fantastic, wasn't ready to put them in the top 10 yet with their win over the Patriots?
Cardinals.
Oh, Cardinals. Yeah, their defense blows too. So Josh Allen looked like an MVP though. Josh Allen looked really freaking good. I'm not buying them yet. Steelers defense is insane. I can't put a team with quarterback questions like that up there yet. I got to see it 1 or 2 more weeks, but that defense looks legit. So there's my top 10. Week 1 NFL power rankings. A little different than Flannel's.
Yeah, and I like the Colts in there, man. I believe that the Colts are one of those teams that a lot of us, I think, kind of all leading up to the season starting, we were like, you know what, the Colts are a team that pretty much all of us are bullish on that could have a pretty good season. Xavier D. And I think he has this one exception with both of you all's lists. The Rams should be on the lists.
I get that, Flannel. I want to see what you think, but honestly, the injury, I'm factoring in the injuries to it. They don't really have much of an offensive line right now, and they just have Cooper Kupp. I think they're a good team. They're a well-coached team, but I don't know.
Well, that's my thing with the Rams is fully healthy, I get it.
Yeah.
And I know that I didn't take injuries into account maybe as I should have, but I don't think any team that I put on are as decimated right now as the Rams are. I mean, Puka Nacua being out at least 4 weeks on top of everything, that's absolutely huge. I know they might get Havenstein back, and Alaric Jackson, I think his suspension is 2 games, but there's a lot. Darius Williams, too. There's just, with the Rams, they have one receiver right now. They have one, and I get it. Demarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson looked okay, but it was supposed to be Kupp and Nacua, and if Nakua's out, it's just going to be really tough for them, man.
Yeah, and in week 1, this is where we'll see the biggest change in these power rankings over the next 2. Once we really start to see what these teams truly look like, they're going to change around. We're basing this off of week 1 and a little bit of projection. But there are some storylines within here that I know we're going to touch when we come back. But let's take a quick break here, Kool-Aid.
Definitely.
And we'll finish off some of these storylines.
There's some teams in here, including, I think, another team that should be added to Flannel's harem, the Falcons.
So we got to talk about the biggest fallers.
We don't have to talk about that.
No, we got to talk about them. Let's do it. Let's get the break so we can give Flannel the time for that one.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Falcons fans, to ease their pain, I know where they were going, or they should. Dispo. How would you like $10 of free products from Dispo Dispensary? Screenshot this image with the QR code and bring it into any Dispo location, and you'll get a free $10 to spend in store with a minimum purchase of $25. Visit Dispo Dispensary today or disposhops.com. Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports. Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
Join the best youth football league in Metro Detroit. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sports League offers youth ages 5 to 14 with 6 exciting teams to choose from in Detroit, Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point. All coaches are trained, certified, and undergo background checks. Register for football or cheer at bgcsm.org. Equipment, meals, and transportation included, all for a chance to play for a championship at Ford Field for just $175 per child. Put the youth back in youth sports with BGCSM 3C Sports.
And we are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for being here, supporting the WUW Crew. Shout out to that dude, Justin and KG. Can't wait to have you guys back with the crew. We got Silent Mike filling in the sound booth, and going to be interning with us on the social team as well. Shout out to Silent Mike. He does elite work beyond just the sound booth, and glad to have you here, brother. We got intern Chase in the building. WUW Sports MVP in the titty booth. That is JB-SMOOV. Matthew Broder, our credentialed Tigers, and our lines reporter and writer for the network. Flannel Sam, that's the vet of the squad. He's held down this time slot for a long time, man, and done it right. And it's your boy Brandon Den, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network. This is Wake Up Woodward. We're talking about the NFL. We had Broder, we had Flannel reveal their top 10 power rankings, and you guys took umbrage with certain things, and there were some teams that were kind of left off of here, and we got to make sure we give Flannel the space to talk about one of his harem of teams, the Falcons.
Oh, yeah.
They are not on anyone's list, man.
No, nor should they be. That was not a good performance by them. TJ Watt just absolutely destroyed that game from Pittsburgh's standpoint. They've got a really, really good defense, and TJ Watt just made it hard on the Falcons to get anything going. I mean, Kirk Cousins didn't play his best game. I thought that Drake London and Kyle Pitts would hit the ground running. They most certainly didn't. It wasn't all their fault, just the offensive game plan was destroyed from the beginning. But the Falcons certainly disappointed me a little bit, and they allowed the Steelers to win a game in which they didn't score a touchdown. Sick football.
Sick. Were they one of the biggest disappointments in week one? Do you put the Browns in that category, or Joe Burrow and the Bengals?
Yeah.
Man, the Giants, man.
Those are three that are in my group of like, I didn't have the Bengals in the top 10. I had the Browns. I had the Browns as like a 9 or a 10 team. They are so far down now. What do you guys think?
The Bengals.
The Bengals.
I've had a weird relationship with Joe Burrow during my time here. When people were calling it Burrowhead and like he was owned Patrick Mahomes and all that Joe Cool stuff, I thought that was a little overblown, so I wasn't his biggest fan. Braylon Edwards from Reminding Edwards with Maz still thinks I hate him. I certainly don't. But now, I think people are a little bit too quick to potentially turn on him. I still think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. This was a terrible, terrible, terrible loss, and the Cincinnati Bengals should fall on everybody's power rankings. But I think they'll eventually be okay, and I think they'll eventually find their way into the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. Man, the Falcons. It was interesting because when you first started jumping on the bandwagon that this could be a team that could be a Super Bowl contender, they hadn't necessarily gone out and done everything, and then they went and bolstered with some big splashes and re-upping with some players, and instantly it was just like we came in. I remember that next week, like, yo, the Bucs are trying to make you look good. And then that first week, it is what it is, and that's why I honestly put more credence on the Detroit Lions week one win, because you could come my way looking like some of these teams that had big season expectations, and after 1 week, you could have your whole entire fan base questioning, are we really that team? And that's what's interesting with the Detroit Lions, because we still got some fans here, and I know you've aptly called some out, that are questioning the squad after week one win when other teams with expectations, they laid eggs. The Detroit Lions didn't.
I mean, unfortunately for the Falcons, you might as well call them Desmond Cousins or Kirk Ritter.
I love your name combos.
Oh, man, I love it. I absolutely love it. And for you, Broder, which team was it for you that kind of was like a sore thumb, just stuck out?
It was the Browns.
The Browns?
It was the Browns. I had questions about Deshaun Watson and their offense, but I expected more out of Jerome Ford and their offensive line. And what I really expected, I thought that defense was going to be dominant again, especially against the Cowboys, dealing with all the crap that they've been dealing with. They just got everything signed, which bodes well for them for the future, kind of. They still have Jerry Jones leading them. But they embarrassed the Browns defense. Like, embarrassed. At each level, the Browns are supposed to be elite. And Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, that offense, they had their way with them all day. They're probably my biggest disappointment. Yeah.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. The dog pound at Cleveland had to be the most depressing place on earth. This is a Cleveland Browns team, which I think me and Broder agree is a playoff caliber team as long as they get competent quarterback play from Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson was certainly far from competent, but it was everything else around him that didn't show up either. It was just a full-on getting their ass kicked, and getting lunch handed to them.
And when you're talking about the Browns, we got to talk about the antithesis. Who was on the other side of the field for them? The Dallas Cowboys, a team that we're ready to be done with. I think all of us are like, whatever, to hell with them. But they look like they acquitted themselves quite well with the Cowboys. Where would they be in a ranking for you?
I have them at number 7.
Number 7?
Going from outside the top 10 to number 7. They'll always, I don't want to say always, they'll hang around during the regular season.
Yeah.
Like, Dak's a great regular season quarterback. They can win games. They know how to win games in the regular season. No matter what they do, they could go 17-0. I'll have the same question marks on week 1 of the playoffs. It is what it is. But for the sake of these power rankings, they deserve to be in the top 10.
One thing I've always said about the Cowboys, especially after CD got signed and then Dak Prescott got signed, they're never, with that nucleus of Dak, CD, and Micah Parsons, and then you got guys, of course, like DeMarcus Lawrence, that solid offensive line, Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, and the like. They're never going to be bad as long as this core is intact. It's just you worry about the playoffs. So the fact that they went into Cleveland and depantsed them, yeah, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised that they won. I think, to piggyback off of Cleveland, the thing that disappoints me if I'm them is that offensive line could not block the Cowboys front at all. DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 sacks. Micah Parsons got 1. The Cowboys sacked Deshaun Watson 6 times. I'm not one to defend Deshaun Watson, but it's hard to get anything done when you're facing that kind of an onslaught as well.
Just rub it in. Just rub it in.
Rub it in.
Winker style. What up, though, JB-SMOOV?
No, I got one as well, too, that I think, we're probably overlooking them as it is just because they don't really matter. They don't really exist. But the New York Giants, especially a team that over this past offseason that you had the Hard Knocks crew over there thinking that, you're about to, change and revamp your franchise, and all the hard work that they sat here and they said that they put in with the picks, trying to trade picks, picking Malik Neighbors, not re-signing Saquon back again, letting them go to the Eagles. They just sold a bunch of
season tickets. That's
you just sold all these season tickets with hopes that, our team is going to be great. And then you got Daniel Jones out here just throwing interceptions right at the line of scrimmage. What are you doing? This is a terrible franchise and just a terrible loss, man. Why? No, Malik Neighbors, get out of there as soon as you can.
Yeah, because he actually was good. I actually think Malik Neighbors is going to be good, but if Daniel Jones is throwing him the ball, that's not the most advantageous situation. Yeah, the Giants, we talk about the Panthers. The Giants might end up being the worst team of the NFL, and I actually thought that Hard Knocks made that front office look pretty incompetent.
Look, really quickly, Bryce Young or Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones. Bryce Young is
yeah.
Daniel Jones, believe it or not, actually had one good season, in which everything was spoon-fed for him, and Saquon was great, but Bryce Young, it just seems like a hopeless case right now.
They let Saquon go to the Eagles.
And you see what he did. You see what he did.
Hey, but remember, as a Brian Daboll says, we got motor. Devin Singletary.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, stop.
Devin Motor Singletary. That's a Saquon.
Man, every time I think about Daniel Jones, I think about Iffy. Get well soon. This defense, man, they still got some pieces they can bring back. Chess, not checkers for the Detroit Lions. But we got to get into what's trending with JB-SMOOV in this next segment. It's what the people want. It's provocative. Gets people going, right? But let me tell you about second best and two more for our Lions pregame party. You want to know where the best pregame party is for your Lions game day? It's this September 15th. Join us at Detroit's very own second best bar, located at 42 Watson Street for the ultimate fan experience. If you were tapped in at all to the live stream, or if you showed up, you know it was crazy. It was crazy, Chase. It was crazy. So you guys want to make sure that you're there. Enjoy some smooth Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey while catching the Woodward Sports pregame show only at Second Best Bar. Come get some.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had the spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at randywisechevy.com.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts Woodward Sports.
You're right.
Some Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza has a new limited time offer just in time for football season. Soroki's is debuting their fresh signature flavored wings, everybody. Come on, that sounds amazing. Look, grab your friends, order a New York style pizza as well. And you can't forget, you got to add the fresh wings for game day every single weekend. Try one of their 7 different flavors. I got to look up all these flavors, man. You know what? Head over to Sorokis.com right now to get that order in.
Hey, Mark White, of course. Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesales.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
What up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. Thank you guys for supporting the WUW Crew. We zoomed through that like goal. I got to make sure I shout out the chat family for being on one. You guys have definitely been supporting. Thank you guys for that. And shout out to Ryan, too. He says Soroki's wings are underrated. And Phil, flavored wings? Hey, look, come to the watch party. Come to there. From what I'm hearing from sales right now, they are going to be in the building. They are part of this whole thing. They're one of the sponsors for our watch party, so you want to be there. Food is great. It's fire. And you know what else is fire? Sparking up word to Dispo. Let's get cooking, JB-SMOOV.
Let's do it.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Gentlemen, live from the titty booth, JB-SMOOV. Let's rock.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? You know what? I'm still coming down off of this Lions hype, especially J-Mo. Shout out J-Mo once again. Flannel, that jersey's coming pretty soon. But was this J-Mo in the background of this video?
It's just talking about staying focused, really trusting the process.
Oh.
The past few weeks, it's always
my
been
word.
Just
Mossed your own teammate.
Just sunned him.
Talking about staying focused.
I love
really
the player who tries to remain
The past
professional in the
few weeks,
interview.
it's always been just
But you can tell he wants to turn around.
You can also tell he doesn't play. He's not sweating. His hair is way too dry. Like, how about interviewing that dude in the back?
Yeah.
Who is that? Harvey?
He got Moss so bad, bro. It's like that. But you got your teammate on his back with his legs up, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Like, help him up, man. Help him up. I'm just saying he stared at him too, dog.
Just like threw the ball. Just spun the ball right next to him. Look at that. Look at that. It just stands over him and just like spins
it. I missed that the first 2 times. Oh my God.
Like I said, I thought that was J-Mo back there, but you know, might have just been me.
Shout out to you know, that is on some JB type stuff. You are the GOAT, Mr. MVP.
Yeah, you know what? I might be the MVP, but I don't know who let this man behind a hibachi grill. Just saying.
I love hibachi. More sake, more happy.
That's how appropriate. What? My man, bro, you're on fire. Like, dog.
Literally.
What? It's the way he's reaching for the other thing that's on fire, but it's like, bro, you're literally on fire. Nobody said anything. Nobody even ran from him. He's burning guys.
Hey, he said he wanted to cook, so.
But everybody runs for whatever he drops. I'm like, my man is on fire. Watch this. Nobody helps him.
Oh, God. You can't do that with that mop on his head.
Dog. Help my man out.
No one was trying to help him out.
How appropriate, too, because right before you played that Art Vandelay, talk about mixing the 2 different what's trendings. He said, did you guys see the videos of J-Mo eating at the food truck called Hood Bachi? What a great name. Hood Bachi. Hood Bachi.
That is a nice name.
Said you like hibachi? Hood Bachi is fire. Broder, we might have to go and visit the food truck. I see you, Silent Mike. I ain't seen him comment on nothing all show. Look at that smile from Silent Mike about Hood Bachi. Let's go.
See, we got to hit up Hood Bachi.
We got to.
I'm
We
down
gotta
with
get
that.
content there.
I'm down with that as well, too. Kool-Aid, I got to ask you. You know about dad strength, right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Have you ever heard about mom strength, though?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Oh, no.
Bang.
Yes. Dog.
That's that mom strength right there.
Dog. And that's a baby, man. That's a big kid. Dang. I'm glad the kid popped right back up, though, man. That's all I be looking for out of my kids, too. It's like when they fall, it's like, get up, get up, get up. That kid just right back up, man. Future wide receiver. Boom.
Got right back up. got right back up. And finally, I will end what's trending with this. Broder, I got to know, would you be able to catch this pitch off of a rebound?
Oh,
that's on some Broder energy right there.
That's Broder energy.
He's a lefty. That's not obviously easy to do. That's all reaction time. Like, you never practice that stuff. There's no coach just hitting liners at you. Sometimes as ground balls, but no, that's just great reaction out of that guy.
Would you be able to catch that though?
No.
No.
I actually wore one time. I was pitching against Northwestern, down at Northwestern. There's a comeback hit me. It was like blizzarding. I forget what it was early in the season. It was a snow blizzard during it, so it was freezing. I got hit right in my left cheek, my left bum. And it was a Sunday game, so we had to drive all the way home. Honestly, it was entirely black and blue. You didn't feel it during the game, but at least it hits there and not in your face, right?
Yeah. So you had a sore bum on the ride home?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to go there, JB. I see what you did there. Try to walk me into that.
He was trying to walk you right in the fast forward.
That's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's get into this mailbag.
Look, guys, get your mailbag questions in. And I got a mailbag question for the cast, the crew, and you, chat family, as it pertains to after week 1. Your expectations for the Lions looking at this schedule ahead. Has anything changed? Has anything changed? Do you think the road ahead has gotten easier? Or do you think it's just as stout? But we got to get into this mailbag. Let's rock.
Hey, but first, Feldman. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
And it is now time for our Wake Up Woodward mailbag segment presented by the Feldman Automotive Group. And just as we're getting those things, the mailbag questions in the chat, just really quickly, Flannel, to you, after week 1, has anything changed as it relates to your outlook for the Lions this season?
There's
injuries, there's performances, there's teams that look like they cratered. Has anything changed for you?
I mean, I still expect him to be a 12-5 team and win the division. I think there's and we're going to get into this more, but a little hint, there's a certain injury in Tampa Bay that I think will make things easier for the Lions. A big injury.
I think that injury happened last year during some play being tossed through the Ford Field end zone. But, Broder, what about you, man? Because you mentioned it earlier. It's what kind of got me thinking. There are some things that changed in week 1 that probably affect how the season will go.
Yeah, remind me the question again. Sorry, I was looking at the mailbag questions. What did you ask?
Is there anything after week 1 that's kind of changed your outlook on the Lions season and the road ahead?
It could, the Jordan Love injury could impact that. The fact that he's not hitting the IR and maybe back in 3 weeks is something. But if they dig themselves too much of a hole, the Packers, that changes. And shoot, maybe I'll roll this right into Ryan's reactions Feldman mailbag question. Who wins second in the NFC North? I think the Bears could challenge the Packers if they lose 3 of the next 4, if Jordan Love has to miss any extra time. Like, I thought Jordan Love and the Packers looked pretty good against the Eagles in week 1. So that's tricky. I want to think about that one a little more for tomorrow.
Definitely.
I'd probably say right now the Bears, just because what if the Packers lose it before it's even started? If their season torpedoes and they start 0-4, 1-4, because Malik Willis is a little bit of a downgrade to Jordan Love, just a little bit.
Don't let Mass hear that.
Seriously, and that's where I'm gonna go. I remember when Mike G. Feldman mailed sack. Yeah, it's only NFL game 2. But does Lions-Bucks have that NFC Championship vibe? And will Maz root for Baker Mayfield?
Oh, boy.
Second question, yes. At last year's watch party, Maz was literally waxing poetic over Baker Mayfield. When it looked like the Buccaneers were going to potentially tie the game, he's just like, oh, that Baker Mayfield. He's just so poised. And then he throws it to Derek Barnes, and it's all moot. But yes, he's rooting for Baker Mayfield, 100%.
100. Ed O'Neill, Feldman mailbag. Excuse me. How big is it that Levi, in his 4th year, has shown up in a big way so far? He deserves more praise, too, and I think we can see him push 8 sacks. So what do you think about Levi and Levi pushing 8?
He was the best interior defensive lineman on the field for the Lions that day. Yeah. Huge.
Yeah. Without DJ Reader, we didn't hear Josh Paschal's name called. Kaminsky's hurt for a while. Like, it was a good defensive effort without him without him going absolutely crazy, without McNeil, putting up pass rush numbers.
Yep.
Like, this is going to keep going. And there was a question about James Houston I'll get to next. But you have something to add?
No, I was just going to say Big John Kaminsky has been engaging with some of the content that we put up.
Oh, really?
And honestly, he's bullish about his defensive line. I noticed whenever we put stuff up, he's definitely going on and supporting that. And I think Kevin Zeitler was right. Obviously, we want to see more of a Lee McNeil, but I expect it. Definitely.
Yeah, there is a James Houston part of a question, but let me our guy Terrell FL. Terrell from Florida. Thank you for the $5 super chat, man. We appreciate it. He says, Sam, you're high, bro. Did you actually watch the Bears games? Those DTDs were gifts, and the Titans moved the ball all game. Levis just sucks. Caleb is trash.
I mean, we'll see. The bottom line is they went out there with a win. I get it. The Titans were able to run the ball pretty effective. Will Levis is Will Levis. And I think I just have a fundamental disagreement with a lot of the chat. I like Caleb Williams. I don't like that he's on the Bears, but I think he's going to be really, really good. And a lot of you think that he's going to be Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell, which I don't quite understand.
And I believe that the kumbaya on the Bears is the fact that we all do believe that their defense could be something formidable. And we're not, come on, Lions fans, don't do that to yourself. We got big expectations for us and for the Lions, and they're going to handle business. But we've seen the Bears be carried literally by their defense. So
the pass for sure.
Yeah. Charles McClain, Feldman mailbag. If Marcus Davenport continues to play the way he did on Sunday, does that leave Houston inactive all the time? Lions need players that can do other things, not a one-trick pony.
That's a good question, actually.
Reaction.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. Because despite what some other networks will tell you, I thought the pass rush I didn't miss James Houston.
Oh, you mean 97-1 and Mike Valenti?
Yes.
Chuck Brewer hit me up in the chat earlier. Said their front seven, the Lions, was embarrassing. And Rico said they didn't have any pressure. Sorry.
What?
Continue.
Didn't they have like the second most amount of pressures?
Well, I mean, Rico being Valenti's lapdog is actually the most embarrassing thing. But you know what? All respect. All respect. Because, I did go to Specs Howard. He was my teacher for one of my classes, but
wait, teacher on teacher crimes.
This is unbiased. Flannel was talking sports here.
I love it.
Yep.
I love it. Let's rock.
I think they need James Houston. Like, we didn't need him that game, but James Houston, there is a place for him on this team. Even as a one-trick pony, it's going to be up to Aaron Glenn and Terrell Williams and that coaching staff to figure out when to deploy him, when are the best times to do so. But a surprise inactive week 1, he should be playing soon. He should be. IT Hips mailbag. Late in the game when the Lions were up 17-13 on 4th and 1 from their own 35, Dan Campbell decided to punt. Do you think this is a sign of him maybe being more conservative moving forward, or is there a different word that you would use than conservative? I added that part.
I feel like we've seen him do this before, but it's been like every now and then where he makes a decision. And when we're all sitting here saying, like, okay, then the defense is going to have to go out there and make a play. And then they opportunistically several times last season made that play. This was a situation where I believe he trusted in what his defense was going to do, and they rewarded him. It was comforting to see because you got a weapon like Jack Fox who can flip the field, and he was good. Jack Fox, he did his job.
I mean, it's their own 35. That makes every difference in the world. I wasn't mad that they punted, personally. Not at all.
All right, this might be the last one, depending on how long it takes us to respond. But from John effing Lord, Feldman mailbag. If you could choose the mascot for each show on Woodward, what would it be? A Wake Up Woodward mascot, Big D Energy mascot, Armani and Edwards, and the heavyweights.
Wow.
And I wonder, you think of like mascots that are current mascots, or are we creating one of our own?
Huh.
What do you think?
I think with E&E, despite Ryan Armani's ridiculous takes on Hutch, would probably be a block M.
Yeah.
Because it's Armani and Edwards, for sure.
Like a little Wolverine involved in the mascot.
So a couple alums there.
Yeah. A sun would have to be involved in, or like an alarm clock.
Yeah.
You know, make it a fun alarm clock.
Huh. Maybe we can get Dame Lillard just.
Dame time. Dame time. Somebody, maybe, you know what? Let's think about that. Instead of just thinking live on air, let's think about that. Maybe I'll include it in layup lines later in the week.
That could be fun.
It involves some creativity, and I don't want to just fake it till we make it. All right, last question. I saw a good one here from Eric Allen. Mailbag. With the addition of Kevin Zeitler. Feldman mailbag from Eric Allen. With the addition of Kevin Zeitler to the O-line, making it better than last year, what do you expect from the Lions' rushing attack this season? Jonah Jackson to Zeitler is an apparent drop-off in rush blocking, but an improvement in pass blocking. What do you think?
Top 3 in the league in rush yards per game. Maybe number 1. I mean, you saw how effortless it was with David Montgomery in particular. In some games, it's going to be Gibbs' game to shine, but they are going to run the football.
Hey, shout out to Erica Stillwagon. I think
shout
she
out
wants
to everybody in the chat.
I think she wants to be our mascot. I see the people in the chat.
You just have a still wagon up on screen or a big booty.
I was gonna say what's still wagon?
Yeah, like Bubba Sparks. Also, JZJ, Wake Up Woodward should be a rooster.
Oh, okay.
A big cock.
I don't mind that. Yeah.
A burn. A rooster, also known as a cock for the Wake Up Woodward mascot. He hit that one first. That's my bad. Denver Blair, E&E is a fleshlight. Noah Noah M, it's a mascot. Okay, there's some good ones in here. I'm going to have to go read through these later.
We might have to compile the chat ones too. So when we give ours, we can definitely make sure the chat is well represented. What are you reading, dog? Say it.
Can't.
Someone said the heavyweights would be Snorlax, the Pokemon.
Oh my God.
Real talk, that might be a good social post. You know on Twitter we're gonna get some outrageous.
Phil said booty cheeks. Phil, enjoy retirement, bro. Phil is living his best life, dog. Oh my gosh. Freddie Felt, Woo equals. Okay. All right. I can't read it.
Great show,
Shout
boys.
out to Freddie. Love you, bro. Take care of KG for us. Is that a show?
That is. 10:02.
Hey, you know what? And the sun is just now starting to shine. I feel like I'm glowing. I'm still on this Lions hangover. We indulged more, and so it's going to be even bigger hangover tomorrow. And you know what? We got more Lions for that, too. I can't wait, but Wake Up Woodward Chat family, you guys have been absolutely electric and on one. The engagement has been dope. The support, the super chats, and everything. It's been awesome. And guys, listen, every time we double up on the like goal, that's free merch for you guys. We want to make sure that for your support, that we can show you appreciation as much as possible. And for us, if you want to have our backs, smash that like button, share this stream, share that post, man. Help out your WUW Crew. We appreciate you guys greatly. Shout out to that dude, Justin, and Detroit's #1 draft pick, KG. Can't wait to have you guys back in studio. KG should be back next week. Just enjoying some time before we all on the grind with Lions football. We got Silent Mike filling in for him in the sound booth. And the one thing we know for certain, man, is that he likes hood bocce. Thank you, man, for filling in again. Did a great job, man. Sounds was dope. Silent Mike. There you go. And in the elite, the wonderful, the magnificent, man, we got Woodward Sports' MVP in the TD booth.
Stop it.
It's a Tuesday, man. JB-SMOOV. What up?
Stop it. Hey, another great, amazing show once again from you guys. The week's just getting started. We got so much more Lions stuff to talk about. Get us prepared for the Bucs game that's coming up. So just stay tuned. Stay tapped in.
Stay tapped in. Tell you guys, check in, man. It's a roster. Let's get this going before we got our credentialed Tigers and our Lions reporter and writer, that is Matthew Broder, co-host of Woodward Maine.
Could there be October playoff baseball and a Lions game?
Ooh, October in the D.
I like October. It's my favorite month.
Red Wings and Pistons play. Yo, we could really have an October in the D.
And to piggyback off of that, the Tigers must sweep. Got to sweep this series.
Must.
How you feeling about that real quick?
Good. They're playing the Rockies at home.
I like that. No hesitation.
I think they do it.
Perfectly, because this is the vet of the squad right here. That is Flannel Sam. Preparation. numbers. Hey, you know what, man? Especially with the knowledge you bring on all 4 of these teams, man, and our college squads.
Hey.
Thank you for what you bring to this show.
Oh, thank you guys as well. And just one quick message for the Tigers: sweep these next 3, go 5-4 against the Orioles and the Royals, and then go 5-1 in your last 6. And by golly, you are in. And I really believe that.
Fucking go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Hey, and it's your boy, Brandon A.K. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network. It's been a show, guys. Thank you guys for supporting us. Lions season has already started off with a bang, and it's because of you guys. I don't think you understand how important your support is for all of us here. And stay tapped in with the rest of Woodward Sports Network. Big D Energy is right after us. Hermione Edwards and the Heavyweights. Thank you, guys. Have a blessed day. Seriously, have a great day. And let's go get some merch this week, you guys. Let's keep these likes high. Have a good one.